In those days, Peter stood up among the believers, a group numbering about 120. And when the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. You know, just under 2,000 years ago, Jesus invited these 12 guys to follow him, to journey with him, ultimately to be part of his launch team. Because Jesus' mission was to seek and save the lost, and that's what he did when he went to the cross. He went to the cross to pay for your sin and my sin so that we could be forgiven and redeemed and raised to new life so that we could have relationship with God. But Jesus' mission was bigger than just saving us from our sin. His mission was to bring the kingdom of heaven here on earth, and that was through the movement of the church. And so Jesus rose from the dead after being buried. He ascended into heaven, but his initial launch team, these 12 guys, they spent 3 years with Jesus discovering how they needed to be so that when the church began, they could show others what it meant to follow Jesus. They spent that time with Jesus being what they were going to see when the church first launched. And then there's this moment where there's 120 people gathered in this room. They're all huddled, packed into this place, and they're figuring out, what do we do? This is the original launch team for the New Testament church. And then the day of Pentecost rolls around and God's Spirit fills the room that they're in, and they all begin to speak in these earthly languages, different languages. They go out into the streets, they start preaching to people, and people hear the message of the good news of God. And that day, 3,000 people were baptized. This is the birth of the church. But what would it have been like to be one of those 120 people? Like, what if you were one of those 120 people, just one of them in that room that day on the day of Pentecost? God's Spirit breaks in, fills the room. Like, what would that be like? Wouldn't it be amazing? Like, after you see this church just explode, thousands and thousands of people coming to know who Jesus is, wouldn't it be cool to just be able to say, yeah, I was there in the very beginning. Like, I was there before this thing was a thing. This was the original launch team of the church. You know, we're in the process of launching a brand new church, Journey.church, and I want to let you know what a launch team is. A launch team is a gathering, a group of people who say, we are going to be this church here and now, so that when we have this grand opening for people to come and experience and meet Jesus and know him so that they can journey with him, we're going to be that group of people that is the church for them to come and experience. And so what it means to be part of a launch team is to begin to live out what it means to be the church now so that people will come and experience it. And so here's the thing. We're going to have this grand opening next year, and people are going to come and experience this brand new church, Journey.church. But right now, we have this group of people who are gathering, just like the 120 in that room, in that house. We have a group of people who are gathering right now, and we're talking about what it means to be this church. And I want to invite you to come join our launch team and maybe say, I'll come and check it out in March. I'll come and check it out when you start meeting on Sundays. You know, church isn't just a Sunday morning meeting. Church is a gathering of people. It's a group of people living out what it means to follow Jesus. And so what we're currently doing right now is we're being what people will experience in March. And here's what I want to invite you to do: to not wait until March when we have our grand opening and come and experience what we've been working on all this time, but for you to get in now, because the opportunity is now. The time is here for you to be one of those people, one of those 120 people, one of the people at the ground level, to begin being the church here and now. Don't wait till March to be the church. Come be the church here and now. As you join this launch team, you will be challenged, you'll be encouraged, you'll be inspired, you will grow like never before. And what would it be like to be able to say years from now, oh, I was there before that church even started. I was there in the early days. I was there on the launch team. And now to look and see the hundreds, the thousands of people who have met Jesus because of that. I was there before this thing was a thing. What would it be like to be a part at the very beginning. That's what I'm inviting you to be a part of. So come, join us now and be the church here and now. Don't wait till March to experience it. Be who God is calling you to be. Join the journey here and now, because the journey continues.